Okay, so let's go ahead and continue to look at equations with one radical. Things get a little bit more difficult. That's why I kind of wanted to cut from the other video and do these on their own. Again, we have one radical. So the idea is we're going to isolate it and then raise it to a power to get rid of the radical. So in this case, I would add x to both sides. And so we end up with the square root of 2x plus 7. And on that side, we end up with x plus 2. And of course, when I raise things to the second power now, right, we can get rid of the radical. That's the good news on this part. But over here, again, we got to be careful. We're squaring a sum. So there is no power of a sum rule. So we actually have to write that out as x plus 2 times x plus 2. And so we've got a lot more going on, because when I do my FOIL over here, we can see what we end up with is an x squared. So our next move then is to factor it, because that's how we solve a quadratic or a polynomial equation. So let me go ahead and kind of continue to simplify. And then how about I subtract 2x and 7 from both sides. And so that gives us 0 equals x squared. I believe that'll be a plus 2x minus 3. Alright, and so as we learned back in chapter 5, we can solve this by factoring. Again, I'm a guesser and a checker, and I believe that would be the right combination, right? So plus 3, yeah. And so the zero factor property kicks in. One of these is equal to 0. Alright, so we get x equals negative 3 as one of our answers, and we get x equals 1 as another. Okay, so right now that's what the math is giving us. When we go check them out, right, now we get to see if they actually work. We definitely have to check our answers. We don't want to get any extraneous solutions here. So when I go check out in the original equation, when I check out negative 3, I think we're going to get 1 there, plus 3. 1 plus 3 equals 2, and that's not true. So that's an extraneous solution. That doesn't actually work. When I try the 1, I believe we're going to get 9 there. And then 3 minus 1, so 2 equals 2. So that does work. So this basically has, so there's the work. Again, it got a little harder because of that step right there. We got to be careful in terms of when we're squaring a sum. And then we end up with a quadratic to solve. We solved it, and then we have to check your solutions. That's a pretty typical thing we do when we have a radical equation. So on to the next one. Again, it seems pretty simple. I've got a nice, simple one radical there. So we're going to isolate it. How about I isolate it by adding 6 and subtracting, right, from both sides. So we end up with the square root of x. And how about I write that as 6 minus x. So to get this radical by itself, or to get rid of it, I'll square it. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So the radical gets cleared on, the radical gets cleared on that side. But again, we're squaring a difference. So we have to expand that out and FOIL it. So when I do my work here, I end up with 36 minus 6x minus 6x. A negative times a negative is a positive x squared. So cleaning some stuff up here, we end up with x squared minus 12x plus 36. Subtract x from both sides, and we get the 0, so I can start to factor. Okay, so there we go. So now that we have a polynomial equation here, I'll factor it. Again, I'm a guesser and a checker, and I believe the right combination will be negative 9 and negative 4. Right, because we get a negative 9x and negative 4x give me the negative 13. So the zero factor property kicks in. Set these both equal to 0. And we get 9 as one potential solution. And we get 4 as another one. So we have 2 potential solutions. Which ones work? We got to go check them out. So coming up here and plugging them into the equation, here's my work for the 9. We get 9, that's a 3 minus 6. This is 12 minus 6 equals 0. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that's true. Alright, so 6 doesn't solve it. So that's, again, another extraneous solution. When we come up here and we try the 4, we get 4 plus 2 minus 6 equals 0. 6 minus 6, yep, that's true. So there's our solution. So all that hard work, one of our solutions didn't work, one of them did. Yes, there's those out there that they both will work, right? But again, simple idea of isolating the radical to get it by itself, raised to a power to get rid of it. But then what was harder than the last examples is that because we're squaring a sum or a difference, we actually have to do our FOIL, which creates a quadratic, and then we're back to doing some quadratic stuff. So a lot of stuff going on here. The new idea of radical equations, right? An old idea from chapter 4 about squaring sums and differences, factoring, right, which is a chapter 5 idea, and then evaluating, which is something that's been around for quite a while. So a lot of little bits and pieces of our course. Hopefully you're starting to see a lot of ideas, a lot of math ideas come together. All right, so let's keep moving forward. We've got some more even difficult equations to solve in the next video.